In honor of my seniors, here is a very easy, simplistic project that you can complete using PhotoPea. At our schools, seniors should have picked up their graduation caps and gowns. So this is a fun little project for my seniors who are supposed to have already taken a picture of themselves anyway and submitted it to the school in their cap and gown. Here's one of my own daughter, and I'll show you how I set this up. Very simple, and the only requirements that I am giving my students is high quality picture of your subject, 2 shapes, and 2 text boxes. We're keeping it rather simple here, a simple, classy invitation or announcement. And it could be a graduation one. In the case of my seniors, that's what I'm asking for. For non-seniors, if you've done something crazy over this COVID time, like, I don't know, adopted a cat or dog or hedgehog or whatever, maybe you want to do an announcement of your new family member. So instead of 2020, you might put new to the family or just born or whatever. You know, if you had a sibling that came into the world, or you have a sister who just celebrated a sweet 16 or whatever, you could do something like that. So it doesn't have to be an announcement necessarily as far as graduation goes. So we're going to create a new project, file new, and we're going to go to photo here because you could technically print these out if you wanted to and go online and have them printed. Now, 5x7 is what I chose for my example one. However, if you were going to take these to Walmart or Walgreens, which you could do, you know, Walgreens and Walmart run specials all the time on prints. You can even get them in 1 hour, so it's kind of a good deal. But if I go here to photo on this Walgreens website, for example, notice 40% off everything photo right now, or 10 cents for each 4x6 print on orders of more than 100. So think about that. You could order 100 of these at 10 cents a piece. So that's, for you math issued people, that's $10. So for $10, you could get 100 of your own little self-printed, self-made graduation announcements. And in that case, it would need to be 4x6. So for this example, I'll do 4x6. You need to decide whether you want it to be wide or tall. So if you were going to do it tall, then the width would be 4 and the height would be 6. And I do suggest that you set your DPI, if you think you might actually print this off, to 300. That's high quality. Now, if you know you're not and you're just doing it for my class, 150 is suitably fine. And honestly, if all you're doing is posting it online, like for Facebook or something like that, even 72 would be okay for DPI, or you can just do 100. But anyway, we're going to hit create. So I've got a 4x6 inch at 300. And you want to have a pretty good high quality photo to put in here. So I'm going to place my photo, open in place. I'm on my computer and not my Chromebook. So if you're on your Chromebook, you want to make sure you have that picture saved already to be able to use. So I'll click on this picture. It's going to place it, which means it'll make it fit. And it looks like it fits pretty much almost exactly right. There might be a little bit of white. No, there's not on the edges. So that fit perfectly with my picture I took with my camera. I didn't take a cell phone picture, but if you have a nice cell phone, you probably can take a suitable picture. So this picture fits this very nicely. If you needed to scoot it over one way or the other, you know, you could do that. That might require you to change the size a little bit. So just be sure you hold shift if you're going to scale things up at all, or whatever, you know, you might be doing there. Okay, I've got that sat down. So there's that. I don't really have anything fancy going on in the background here. Let's move on. So then you're going to create a shape. And I would suggest creating a shape that actually matches in color to something in the picture. So for my example, I created a rectangle to put words in at the bottom. I don't need a stroke on my rectangle, so I'm going to set that to nothing. And then the fill. So you draw your rectangle at the bottom or wherever. It's okay if it hangs off because it won't print if it hangs off anyway. You see that's there. Now mine does match because I did eyedrop this, but here's what you would want to do. You want to come click on your eyedropper tool to make sure that you have the right color set, okay? And then come click an area. And I used a dark area of the hat, but I'll do this again and use a lighter area. So notice when I click here in this light area, my color here at the top changes. Or if I click in the darker area, that color changes. Wherever you're going to get the color from, this will change to that color. Now I got to go back to my rectangle to change the color of my rectangle. So I'm going to click back on the rectangle tool, which puts it at the top. Then I can click down, and then if I click on this button here, so these are the colors that are already set. But if I click on this one here, whatever my most recent sampled colors are will show in this little list here. So here's that light pink I was talking about that matches this one. And then when I went back and clicked on the dark area again, there's the dark pink. So whatever clicks you do, that's where those colors go. So you can't quite get to them. You have to click here, then click here, and then they're in this little list. Kind of a weird spot for that. In Photoshop, we have the panel that will let us do that, our Swatches panel. And there is a Swatches panel in here as well. So you can pull that up and you'll see those two colors there also. Okay, so I've got that shape. That's my box. And then you're going to want to add a second shape, at least in my class. They're going to have one more shape. And they need to have a shape that utilizes a dotted stroke because I wanted to have one new thing in here. So I'm just doing a line. So I'm going to click on the line tool. And then I'm going to click and drag to draw a line. But let me tell you, lines do not have fills. So when I draw this, there's probably not going to be anything on it because technically a line is only a stroke. And I don't have one on here. But so say like I want to put a little dotted line here, or I mean you could do it like anywhere. I could just go in the corner. I'll just do the corner this time. So let's say I want to go here in the corner, something like that. Okay. So if I click here, there's my line, but it's invisible. See? So this is the line. We just can't see it. We can't see it because my stroke is set to nothing. I need my fill set to nothing, and then my stroke set to that color that I was using a minute ago. And then I need to give it a size. And I have gone ahead and clicked on this little drop down. Yours will be on a straight line, and if I click off of it, oh, I'm sorry, I'm behind my picture, by the way, just so you can't see that. Okay, so there it is. Okay, and if I want to give it a dotted stroke, then just next to the stroke size, and this is where you would choose how big the circles are or whatever, right next to that, you're going to come over here and choose the dots. And you can't see it while you're clicked on it. You have to kind of click off of it so you can see. So see, that one looks kind of weird. So I'm going to go in here and up that some more. And then there you go. We've got that. The width, there is a thing called width up here on your shape tool. And that width you can also modify. I don't know if I'm clicked on the person and not the tool here. And that may not make much difference now that I don't have a fill on there, but you can also modify that width as well. This is kind of hard to see when you're not zoomed up. So notice it's sort of doubled up, probably because of the size of the shape. Let's see if I can get a hold of it. So it's like it put the dots on both sides of that shape because it is stroking the entire shape. If you notice, so let me click back on my line tool here. So you can see it's putting the strokes around both sides of that shape. Not really sure why it's doing that. I guess because when I drew it, my width was already set to that 5. So that might be something else. And actually, you know, we all need to learn something. So let's just delete it and try it again. I'll set my width to 1 this time. No fill. I'll go ahead and preset this stroke. And then we'll draw it. Is that better? Yeah, there you go. So there you go. The answer to all the problems. So be careful on that width. Make sure that width, I don't know why I was set at 5. Maybe that's the default. But go ahead and set that to whatever you want it to be. Okay, so that's that. And that's pretty much it with regards to the shapes. So you would add your couple of shapes in there, however you wanted to do that. And you could do more. You know, you could copy this if I wanted to. I could hold, oops, wrong button. I just copied my person. I think I have it set on auto select, which is not really a good idea when you're trying to make copies and stuff. All right, if I alt and drag, it makes a copy. So now I have that dotted line in there. Again, I'm going to alt and drag one more time. And then now I have a third one. So there's kind of like a series of dots. Yeah, I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Okay, and then the last thing that you've got to do at this point would be probably to name these lines and then to add your text. And everybody already knows how to do text boxes. You'll need to do 2 separate boxes if you do like my example. So I have one box that has this 2020 in here, and then the other box that has your words. You know, with stuff like this, you want to use fonts that look really professional. Now, I'm not zoomed all the way up. Let me control 1. This is actual size. And notice this looks pretty nice and pretty professional. You really want your font to look good. Don't use something that looks handwritten or looks kind of childish. You know, this is the time where you want it to be formal looking. So for this, we want to make it look nice. And you can do other things too. I went ahead and left the double stroke on this initial one. And I also added a line. I put a little bit of a fill on the inside. So there's a line going down through my dots. So you can kind of play with that clearly and do however much you want to that one. So anyway, that is pretty much it, folks. When you're finished with this project, at least in my class, I'm going to have them to show me that they did it in PhotoPea. So they will take a screenshot showing me their layers and this, and submit that for scoring as a PDF on Canvas. But, you know, if you had a blog, you could export this out, of course, as a JPEG to put on a blog post. Or if you did really truly want to go print this somewhere, you're definitely going to want to export that out as a JPEG and upload it to Walgreens or Walmart or something, and you can print those off yourself. So anyway, quick and easy announcement project using PhotoPea.